recently did a speech on elections and voting. Some of you have seen me do speeches on unions and how they're good for the middle class. I've done a speech on newspapers and how educated population can make better voting decisions. I also did a speech on running a campaign for elections. Some of you know, not bragging, but I ran for state representative in 2010. I didn't win, so that's why I'm here. But in my speech on running a campaign, one of the most important things in deciding if you should run or not is there going to be an open seat? An open seat is when the incumbent has decided not to go for the election again. And an open seat has opened up in the 2nd Ward, of which I'm allowed to run in, 2nd Ward for Alderman. But running a campaign and making a decision to run for an office is never easy because there's a lot of things you need to do. You need to get volunteers, not just a few, but maybe as many as 100. You need to raise money, maybe $100,000 or $200,000, and basically it takes a year of your time. Not only that, not my time also, but friends, family, you're asking them to make a commitment. And after all that, the odds are you're going to lose. Now, in this particular election, my chief opponent would be a close ally of the Daley family. And I think some of you probably remember Mayor Daley. Well, one of Mayor Daley's, probably his worst decision ever, was the parking meters. Parking meter deal, by now, even little kids know, this probably cost the city about $3 billion in revenues we could have got for the city. So this money could have been used for public schools, for retirees, homeless, sick people, the list goes on and on. So this is one reason for running. Now, another thing about my candidate that I would be running against, the Daley allies, he would be able to raise money like that, $100,000 at the drop of a hat. He'll also have public officials backing him, and the list goes on. But as you can see from your reaction tonight, when I just mentioned the word Daley, that people are tired of these connected politicians, and the fact is, a progressive candidate, hopefully someone like me, could put together a coalition that can beat this guy. Yet even so, there's still a lot that goes into it, and even though there's nothing more that I would like to do than actually be alderman, because I love meeting people, thinking of ways to help them, it's still a gamble, and it's not something, a decision that one would make lightly. So I was just thinking about that, and I was thinking, who better to ask than my fellow Toastmasters, some good friends I've met, in helping me decide this most important decision for me, and maybe for the rest of the city as well. So, in closing, after you've heard my little speech, my little campaign speech, I'd like you maybe to ask yourselves, would you run for alderman of the 2nd Ward after what you've heard tonight? Thank you.